Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be making sour cream chicken enchiladas and refried beans. We're going to start with a half of a stick of butter, which is 1/4 of a cup, and we're going to let that melt in our pot. This is a quick and easy recipe on a busy night, especially when I'm using my home canned chicken and also my home canned pinto beans. It makes it super quick. So here I've drained off my canned chicken, the broth that it made, and it made like half of a cup. So I'm going to go ahead and fill it up to 2 cups because that's what I need for my recipe. You can use store-bought broth or home canned broth, whichever you have will work great. So here I'm letting the butter melt slowly. If I cook it too high, then it will burn or brown, and that's not the flavor that I want in this recipe. So here I'm going to add a half a cup of flour. I'm using all-purpose flour, but really you can use any flour you have. Self-rising flour also works. I'm going to stir this together, and this is what we call making a roux. This is the base of any cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, cream of anything soup. That's what we're basically making here, is a cream of chicken, homemade cream of chicken soup. I'm slowly adding in some of this chicken broth. I don't want to add it all at one time, so I'm just slowly adding it in so it can incorporate together. And then I'm going to raise the temp just a little bit on the stove so I can get it to start thickening. So here I'm going to start adding my seasoning. I'm starting with some salt and some pepper, and I'm making sure that I'm tasting along the way because we don't want it too salty or too hot. And I'm adding a little bit of garlic powder. This is to taste. We like things garlicky, so I'm adding about a half of a teaspoon. I'm going to stir that in. I'm waiting for the cream of chicken mixture to thicken. I don't want to turn my stove too high because it might burn or scorch the bottom, and we'll have to start all over if that happens. So we'll do it on medium and keep a watch to see when it thickens. Now that the sauce is starting to thicken, we're going to add in our sour cream. We're going to start by adding 1 cup of sour cream and slowly mix that into the sauce. Now we need to season up the sour cream sauce. I'm going to use some of my home dehydrated pepper powder. And I'm going to stir it and taste to make sure it's not too spicy. If you like it really spicy, you can add more. Also, this would be the time that I would add a can of green chilies if I had them. But since I don't, I use the pepper powder. I'm also going to add just a pinch of seasoned salt. This is all to taste. You can add more or less of any of these things. I'm going to grease up my 9x13 pan with a little bit of olive oil, and I'm going to take my canned chicken that I canned in a previous video. I'm going to put that in a bowl. Now if you don't have canned chicken, of course you can buy canned chicken at the store, or you can use a few chicken breasts, roast them up and put them in this recipe, or you can even pressure cook a few in an Instant Pot. I've done that before. But this canned chicken saves me a lot of time, and I like having this on the shelf for quick meals like this. I'm going to go ahead and shred this up, and then I'm going to add a couple handfuls of cheese, maybe a cup and a half of cheese, and I'm going to mix it together good. I'm going to add some more of my homemade pepper powder. Of course, you can leave this out. I'm not going to add any salt because my chicken that I canned was already salty, but if you used chicken that you did not season, you will want to season this to taste as well. Now we're going to make the enchiladas by taking some store-bought tortillas. If you have some homemade tortillas, that would be even better, but I don't. So I'm going to put a little bit, maybe a half of a cup or so into the tortilla and roll it up. And I'm going to continue to do that until I have my entire pan full of enchiladas. So here I'm going to pour over the sour cream sauce. I want to make sure that I get it on the top of each of these, but also I want to make sure that I get it in between each one of these enchiladas. I'm going to sprinkle some freshly grated cheese over the top. This is some Monterey Jack, and I'm going to add some cheddar as well. Any cheese that you have will work for this recipe also. Now this is going to go into a 350-degree oven uncovered for around 30 minutes. So now we're going to make our side dish, which is going to be refried beans. I have some bacon grease that I keep in my refrigerator. I also keep some in the freezer, but each time you cook bacon, save your bacon grease. It is so flavorful in many dishes. If you don't have it, you can add any oil, olive oil, lard. Here is my home minced garlic. I'm going to take a big tablespoon of garlic once this bacon grease has melted. Now that's the sound you want to hear when you're opening any of your home canned foods. It means you had a great seal. Here I am putting in a heaping tablespoon of garlic. We're going to go ahead and cook that up, but we don't want to cook it too fast and burn the garlic. So we're going to cook it until we can just smell it, and that's how we know that it's time to add in our home canned pinto beans. Now you can drain some of this liquid off because it is pretty liquidy. I notice that when I get it into the pan, but once this sits for a while, it will thicken up, so you don't really have to worry about it. Believe it or not, I'm adding more garlic. Of course, if you don't like garlic, you don't have to add it, but we really, really love garlic here. Also, I'm going to add in some of my dehydrated peppers. This is a little spicy, so I want to go shy on it because I don't really like spice, but my husband loves it. I'm going to add in a tablespoon or two of my home canned salsa. Of course, you can omit this as well. This is not necessary, but I like to add it in if I have some in the refrigerator. So here I'm mashing the beans with the back of a spoon. If you want your beans completely smooth, you can use an immersion blender, but we like ours kind of chunky. I'm tasting it for seasoning, and I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning salt. Again, this is according to your taste. You don't have to add any extra if you don't want any. As this heats up, some of the liquid will evaporate, so it will start to thicken. I'm going to add a little bit of sour cream as well, and I'm going to stir that in. So I decided to take my blending fork and smash those beans a little bit more. Here you can use a potato masher, but the blending fork works just as well, or a regular fork would also work. So here are the refried beans and the sour cream chicken enchiladas that we had for dinner. Let me know if you try any of these recipes and what you think. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.